Recorded Books presents The Spark of Love by Amanda Cabot, narrated by Barbara Mcculloh. Chapter 1. April 1857. She had to leave. Alexandra Tarkington tried to bite back her anger as she removed the tray from the smaller of her trunks, laying it carefully on the floor. This shouldn't be happening, but it was. Though she was grateful today was her maid's half-day and she wouldn't have to deflect Bridget's curiosity, Alexandra had never before packed a trunk, or even a valise. Then again, she'd never before been forced to flee. "What are you doing?" She looked up, startled by her great-aunt's approach. Aunt Helen was showing signs of her 71 years and moved slowly, but the sound of her cane on the hardwood floors should have alerted Alexandra. It would have alerted her if she hadn't been so preoccupied. "Tell me, child." Alexandra winced at the final word. Aunt Helen might believe she was still a child who needed to be protected, but the truth was, Helen was the one who needed protection. While she might seem formidable to those who sought her favor, Helen Cameron's bones were fragile. If Franklin resorted to the physical violence he had threatened, and Aunt Helen tried to protect Alexandra, she might be injured. Alexandra couldn't take that chance. "I'm going to the Springs." Once Alexandra left New York, her aunt would be safe. "Because of Franklin." Aunt Helen made it a statement, not a question. "Yes," she admitted, "but how did you know?" Her aunt wrinkled her nose as she settled onto a chair. "I may be hard of hearing, but I'm not deaf." And he was shouting. She leaned forward and laid her hand on Alexandra's. "No matter what he threatens, Franklin can't touch your trust. Your grandmother hired the best attorneys in the city to make sure your mother, and now you, were protected. Even after you marry, the money is yours, not your husband's. You can use it, but you can't give it to him. It can only go to your daughter. Still, after hearing Franklin last night, I think you're wise to get away for a while." Though she knew that, Alexandra railed at the necessity. "I hate feeling like I'm running away." She'd heard whispers that Franklin was a violent man, but she hadn't believed them. Until last night, he'd been a perfect gentleman. Until last night. "You're being wise," Aunt Helen repeated, making Alexandra wonder if she'd overheard Franklin's threats. "Besides, your cousin will enjoy your company. It's been a long time since you and Opal were together." "That's true." Alexandra hated deception, but her aunt would be safer if she believed that the Springs Alexandra planned to visit were Saratoga, not Mesquite. The charade wouldn't last forever, but it should give her enough time to reach Texas. Even if Franklin discovered where she'd gone, he wouldn't follow her. Not when he realized Papa would be there to defend her. Alexandra took a deep breath, wishing she could believe that, but the assurance she sought was overwhelmed by the memory of Franklin's fury. Tamping down the fear that threatened her composure, she tried to smile. "Don't worry if I don't write. I imagine I'll be so busy I won't have much time." If she didn't receive a letter, Aunt Helen could honestly say she didn't know where Alexandra had gone, if Franklin asked. When Franklin asked, Alexandra was certain he would. Once again, Aunt Helen inclined her head, her gesture as regal as her coronet of braids. "Especially if you find new things to paint. You're taking your watercolors, aren't you?" "Of course." Alexandra would not
Sample complete. Ready to continue?